What is up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of Talking Elite Fitness. I'm Sean Woodland, joined as always by Tommy Marquez and Lauren Khalil. Tommy, how you doing?
I am good. I am not as maybe jet lagged as you,
I'm not
so
jet lagged at all. Feel great. And we'll
oh,
get to that in a second. Yeah.
Impressive.
Yeah. And Lauren, how are you?
I'm great. I'm in Arizona, but I'm
So it's not
not jet
late.
lagged either.
It's nice. Yeah.
No, it's only 8:35. We're still within my bedtime window.
Yeah, not jet lagged at all. I never really got on schedule in Aberdeen. I would sleep at night, but it was one of those deals where I would go to bed at like, I don't know, 10:30, 11, and I'd wake up 3 a.m. just wide awake, couldn't get back to sleep. And then, maybe get an hour between 5 and 6, and then I'd be up and working 12 hours, and then I'd come home and repeat. And what night was it? Was it Friday or Saturday? I can't remember. Maybe it was Friday. What, game 7 of the World Series?
Oh yeah.
So I stayed up and I had to download like 4 apps on my phone just to be able to watch the game over there. And I watched the first 3 innings because it was like 12:30 a.m. when the game started. And I was like, all right, first 3 innings, I'll watch first innings. I was like, I got to go to sleep. I have got to sleep. I got a long day tomorrow.
Way to slide in the reference too, Sean. I noticed that on Sunday about the World Series. Caught that.
But I woke up, I don't know, I went to sleep, woke up maybe an hour and a half later. I got my phone, I checked the score. It was 3-1 Toronto. I was like, all right, well, good job, Dodgers. You tried. Awesome. Went back to sleep, woke up again maybe 2 hours later, and then I checked the score, and it was 4-3 Toronto in the 8th. And I went, all right, it's over. Good job. So went to sleep, woke up, grabbed my phone. I'm like, all right, I wonder what the final was. And all I see is Dodgers repeat as world champions, win on Will Smith's home run in 11th. I'm like, what? I missed the greatest baseball game maybe of all time.
Dude, I was almost speechless because I lived this vicariously in some ways through my wife and my in-laws who are Giants fans.
Oh, see, that's what this is shocking right there. That's when I'm not a gigantic Dodgers fan, but I take more pleasure in the fact that the Giants fans just hate them and how much pain it causes SF fans. I get more pleasure out of that than the Dodgers actually winning. I was like, all right, they won. That's awesome. And then I went about my day.
One of the craziest series I've ever seen.
Yeah.
But I was going to say, you didn't have to experience fall back.
No, I did
Time
not.
change.
I did.
Oh, good point, Tommy.
I think that's a net positive.
That is a net positive. But yeah, it was a great experience over there. 11-hour flight on the way home, knocked out 4 movies, 2 of which I'd already seen, but I was like, didn't care. I wanted to watch them again. So yeah, it was fun. But we're going to recap Rogue. We're just going to talk about all about that. I'll try to give you guys some like inside kind of experience of what it was like.
Yeah.
As much as I can. And yeah, we got some community support that we want to get to as well. We'll do PRs and no reps. But before we do that, we want to thank our sponsor for today, and that is Thirdzy. I did not forget the Thirdzy on the road. That was a godsend. I think that was one of the reasons why I was able to maximize the effect, positive effect of the amount of sleep that I was able to get. So if you've been under a rock and you don't know what Thirdzy is, they make a rest and recovery collagen that is designed to help you sleep better, get more out of your sleep, stay asleep longer, fall asleep faster, and it helps you recover better while you are asleep. It has ingredients like GABA, L-theanine, magnesium in it. These are all in there to help calm your central nervous system so you can just be more efficient when your head hits the old pillow, you're out. OWT out. It's a fantastic product. You can go to thirdzy.com. You can use our code TEF. You're going to save 20% on the Rest and Recovery Collagen. And look, if you're a master's athlete like me and like Tommy's only a first-degree master. Lauren's not a master's athlete yet. But when you get to that master's, that collagen protein is very important for the old joints when you go to bed. You take the silencer off the old knee, and it's like swelling up a little bit. You get some collagen protein in there at night, helps you recover and make sure that you're not sounding like a bowl full of Rice Krispies when you're squatting that morning. So Thirdzy.com, TEF is the code. You're going to save 20%. And they still have 2 flavors, right? They still have the salted chocolate caramel, which is good.
So hurry up.
So get on it, man. It's fantastic stuff. They're great people to make a really good product that we all just swear by. You can have my Thirdzy when you pry it from my cold dead hand. So Thirdzy.com, code is TEF, and you'll save 20%. All right, let's talk about Rogue. I will go let's just general impressions of the whole thing. And I'll go last because
Ooh.
obviously I had a much different perspective than a lot of people. So I'd just be curious from viewing it at home, what you thought.
Okay, you want me to jump in? One, viewing experience is excellent. The graphics, which you alluded
Mm.
to, which I was excited about, and I'm like, all right, Sean's keeping it tight-lipped. I really want to see what this is. And then the 3D graphics popped up and are moving around, and they looked awesome, and it felt like Monday Night Football. I mean, that was fantastic. The incorporation of some of the really cool camera angles. I know they had some cameras, almost like spider cams, running the side of the field that looked really good in their replay packages. They were able to incorporate really nice stylized slow-mo, like you would see almost in like a post-production element. Yeah, and just overall, it looked great. I mean, they had the field of play nameplates, the incorporation. They mentioned it on the first day, and the live scoring above the rig
Yeah.
for
Oh,
everyone
that
was
was really
super
cool.
cool. And then even just the thought behind some of the elements that they put out there, and the Scotland branding on the Cyclone bags and stuff like that, just kind of like tweak it up a notch just a little bit. Um, and I think from a programming perspective, I think this is what's very unique about this, and what to make, I guess, makes it attractive too. There are programming elements you're not going to get anywhere else, right? And there's going to be elements of fitness tested that aren't going to be tested very much before this, and might get incorporated after the fact because Rogue pushes the envelope with that. But it lends itself to a very, I would say, volatile leaderboard from event to event, in that you don't know, it's hard to predict at times how an athlete is going to respond to a certain stimulus and certain elements. And as a result, you saw some crazy seesaw action. You saw athletes that would kind of were outside of the top 5 on day one, like Adler, win the event. You saw steady climbs from a few athletes. You saw someone like Pat, who was in the lead after day 2, drop significantly after a rough day 3. There was a lot of didn't think that would get him. Oh, that surprised, that tripped her up kind of piece. And I think that you only get that with Rogue because of the programming elements and where it sits in the season, which not everyone's at different parts in their training cycle too. So, which I really enjoy. It makes it less predictable, even though the finale for the men was or the finale for the women was pretty much locked up. It still was like, there is a ton of change here on the leaderboard event over event. And I really like that personally.
Yeah. Lauren.
I mean, viewing experience, 10 out of 10. I second what Tommy said, but specifically when I think of the duel and the way that the graphics had the brackets,
That was so
that's
awesome.
an event that,
Yeah, that was sick.
I remember watching it in person when it was, and obviously a little bit different, but back when they were still in Round Rock, Texas. And I remember the first part of it as an in-person viewer was a little bit slow. I wouldn't say boring, but just, okay, let's get it going. Where as a viewer at home, the way that you and Adrian carried the broadcast with the brackets and the visuals and like waiting for the brackets to refresh, it really did leave me sitting on the edge of my seat to see who was going to be in the next heat, and alternating with the men and the women. It really, really kept me engaged. And I hope other people felt like that too. And even with, I like the spider cam, and I just feel like you saw more angles than we're used to seeing at most broadcasts. And yeah, very much with the replays, like those were shots that we didn't see in the live broadcast. So it was cool to have some of those close-ups of the athlete, but then, as athletes were moving forward and progressing across the field, you saw the wide shots. So you can see, oh, look how close those two athletes are. Or, look how much further this athlete is. And I really liked the visual representation for the storylines. I thought was 10 out of 10. And I mean, Rogue, their broadcast is always, to me, like okay, when you look at how you want to do a broadcast, like what is the goal? Rogue always does it right. And I think that this year was just another way to elevate and push the envelope and, what can we play around with and really bring the viewer into what's happening. And I enjoyed watching every event from home and I was engaged the whole time, very much so.
It's funny you mentioned the duel because that was, you're absolutely right. Like the first couple of times that they did that event in Round Rock 2, they go through the men and there are these long lulls in action and we'd have to wait for them to write on the whiteboard. The fact that and I honestly, it's been like, it's just recency bias. I can't remember if they did this in 2024 or not, if they alternated men and
I don't
women.
remember either.
Can't remember. I think they did. But the fact that they, first round of men, then they do that, and then women come out, and then they just alternate to keep the action going was fantastic. I love like that 3D, the augmented reality graphics that they had was
so cool.
All the time on air, I just didn't even want to talk. I just wanted to watch how that was working with the zooming into things, and that was awesome. But yeah, I think like from my perspective, I thought it went really well. You guys know from having been part of a broadcast team, there are always things that go wrong. There are hiccups. There are like last minute monkey wrenches that get thrown into things that you have to adjust on the fly. And there was none of that. Like it ran super smoothly. Now I'm not in the truck, which is where everything is always on fire. I didn't hear any of that.
The truck is always on fire.
Well, yeah. While the waters above appear calm, there's a flurry of activity.
Anytime I've taken someone into the truck, a broadcast truck for the first time, they just walk up and be like, oh my God, I have someone's anxiety right now. There were no like last minute changes. There was nothing that like didn't go on schedule. There was the equipment teams and the volunteers and the medical teams, like they were all rehearsing. It was funny because we had to rehearse on Thursday to sort of practice using those augmented reality graphics and then just kind of block out an event and how we were going to cover it. We did the Mons Megs strongman event, strongwoman event, where they load the stones into that cannon that they made.
Yeah.
And they had an athlete. Yeah. We didn't know about it, but the athlete who went out there and demoed it faked an injury. And so they rehearsed that, and the medical team came out, did their thing, and I was sitting there with Adrian Conway, and I'm like, "Is this real? Did she really hurt herself?" And then I got a text.
Oh my God!
No, it's not real. This is a rehearsal. But like that's the level of detail that they go into.
Whoa!
Blocking event so that the camera crew could get used to. Okay, what happens if this this takes place? So they were well prepared. The crowd was like the people there are fantastic. I think the venue is perfect.
Yeah.
You saw that in the first event on Sunday, like they were going to run that outside. But if it was cold, it was slick. It was better the way they did it was better. Like going through the building.
I think I think that it was better that way for so many reasons. The way that like were they going through Vendor Village or was Vendor Village just close by? Okay.
They were going through it.
I think that part made it really cool for spectators. I feel like, I don't enjoy running, let alone really watching running, but I do feel like the way that it was shot and everything was like a very solid way to do the event.
Yeah, I love that.
I think that's also an exercise in, and it may sound funny at first, but I think that's an exercise in scaling and executing the basic things first. Because I think a pivot like that for an event like that ends up actually almost being cooler only happens if you've got the basic stuff buttoned down really, really well, and you have stuck to those core principles for a long time, right? Like, having been fortunate to be a part of productions and seen, some that try to go too big, too fast, or they think it's more, certain elements are more accessible than they really are. I've never really felt like Rogue from a production standpoint has gotten out over their skis.
Yeah.
They've done some of the, like from year one, even like maybe COVID year 2020 was maybe the most, but that was almost out of necessity.
Yeah.
In terms of doing something new.
Impressive technical things I've ever been part of in my life, that 2020. Rogue.
Yeah. That was the one when they, everybody was virtual and I thought that was still really cool.
Yeah.
There should be a documentary on that. I don't know how they pulled that off. Like it was incredible.
Yeah.
That was.
And the timing of everything, wild.
Ridiculous. Yeah. But I think like overall I thought it was a fantastic event. I think the athletes had a good time. Like the strong man, the strong women events were fun.
Mhm.
I like the fact that they have that going on at the like
Mm-hmm.
in between CrossFit, how it sort of alternates, and the crowd would change a little bit. There were definitely more people in the building for the CrossFit stuff than there were for the strongman stuff. But that crowd was definitely they were certainly not without enthusiasm.
But if you watch the stream, there is a ton of gratitude from the strongman and strongwoman
Yes.
community about one, having the stream for free,
Mhm.
two, the quality
Mhm.
of the stream, and three, just even holding the event in a way that like seemed legit because you hate to play the comparison game, but I saw a ton of people complaining about other events in the strong sports sphere in reference to this, and they were just stoked to be able to watch this. So
Yeah.
I'm like, well, maybe the crowds weren't as big there, but there was a huge crowd at home that was stoked
Yeah.
about it, and they had the
Sure.
balance of both, I guess.
Yeah.
So,
Well, let's talk about competition and just some key takeaways. And I think the one big takeaway for me is that this really reinforced the fact that the, I don't know, like, it's like united we stand, divided we fall. And I feel like this sport is at its best when all of the best athletes are on the floor at the same time. When you're not missing certain people, you're not, that we had everybody we wanted. Like on the men's side, save for Dallin Pepper because he was
mhm.
injured. But look at the depth of field that we had there. And then
Insane.
on the women's side, the fact that you got Laura Horvath back in the mix, and you got some of these athletes who didn't do the game season, we're all out there. Like there needs to be one thing that everybody participates in. I don't know regardless of what that is or how that gets done. This sport, I don't think, will succeed, and it will not grow if it continues to be splintered and people are choosing between one thing or another. Now, I know no one is
Mhm.
asking them to do that.
Yeah.
That's motivated by different things than one organization saying, you can't do this or vice versa.
Yeah.
But it felt to me that like it's at its best when we get everybody, all the marquee athletes have to be there. Like you don't want to be missing people.
Mhm.
Because that happens during, like during semifinals and stuff, you have your favorites, but you don't have like the all-star event. Like these big events need to have everybody. It was great to see Vellner out there. Like that was a good story throughout the weekend. Like he was actually in first place.
The oldest guy in the field, as you reminded
I
us.
know.
Yeah, old man Vellner just up there. But that was a big first takeaway for me. It's like we have got to find a way to get everybody back on the same page because
Mhm.
that's when the sport is at its best.
Yeah. I think
At least for the cream of the crop,
Yes.
right? At least for the top 20 men and women.
I think that goes across the board, right? Like I just, even if the top is kind of united, I think the rest, for lack of a better term, trickles down from there, right? Like
Mhm.
if everyone sees the top of the sport and they sees them happy and driven and motivated and competing together, like I think that motivates a lot of us to also participate and be involved,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
Like that was the original selling point of the Open, is that you're on the same leaderboard as Rich Froning, as
Mhm.
Jason Khalipa, as Annie Thorsdottir, and Sam Briggs, and Kristen Clever, and that we can all do this as one community. Yeah, and granted that a lot has happened since then, and a lot has
Mhm.
changed and fluctuated and stuff like that. But I think the sentiment still stays the same: is that like we can all be, somewhat united on something, at least from a competitive standpoint, from a season standpoint. Then um, it just, everything's going to be better. The momentum and the movement
Yeah.
is going to have more inertia to it.
Mhm.
But yeah,
I think it's like you're too young to remember this. It was like the old USFL and the NFL. That was never going to work. Like you had players going to the USFL and they were trying
Larry
to.
Zonka.
Yeah, well, no, that was the WFL.
Oh,
That was
WFL.
way
Yeah,
back
yeah,
ago. Yeah,
yeah.
USFL, but you had like Jim Kelly was there, Warren Moon was there, Reggie White started there. A lot of marquee players that didn't go to the NFL, and it sort of splintered things. And it was like, no, we need one thing, and that's not to say that what's going on. Like, I'm not knocking anybody here in the space. We just need to all figure out. Like, I'm going to use the Rich Froning thing. Let's get everyone in a room and talk. Just one thing to where we can all focus on it. I think that would be best. So that's my first takeaway. And then my second one from an individual standpoint is on the men's side, the parity there, and we talked about this coming out of the games, is fantastic. I think it's fantastic for the sport. I was on the tailgate show afterwards with Zach Tellender, who's a great guy. I'd never met him.
Yeah,
before.
he's great.
And he asked us about Jason Hopper. He's like, what was up with that, man? Fittest man on earth. And he comes and finishes, I think, what was seventh again or something?
Sixth, maybe?
I have it.
He was sixth. Yeah. What happened, man? What was up? And I don't think that was indicative of Jason per se. I mean, he has that big weakness in the log muscle ups where every time that's shown up, he's finished like second to last or last.
Mm-hmm.
So that was certainly a problem for him. But I think it's more indicative of the depth of the field because, Jeff Adler was the most consistent and his worst finish was 11th. So you had no one competitor had all finishes inside the top 10, not a one. And
Yeah.
Hopper won 3 events, and I think now has the most career event wins of anybody at the Rogue Invitational, and still didn't win the competition. It's like that parity was on display. Now, with that being said, I still think that when Jeff Adler is 100% and healthy, he is probably the best. He's probably the odds-on favorite every time he steps onto the floor. But it ain't by much.
Yeah, and it's funny because I guess it speaks to the parity. I felt like James is in that discussion based on the consistency of performances, but at the same time, I'm like, it's some of the old sports debates, right? Like, you could argue, and I've heard this one before. You could argue that at the best he ever was, LeBron James was a better basketball player than anyone that's ever existed. Like at the peak of his powers. But would you say he's a better player consistently and for his career than Michael Jordan?
No.
Exactly.
Yeah,
And
I mean, I'm biased.
No, for sure.
Yeah.
I don't even think it's close. I think what Jordan did and accomplished in his success rate, but I think like objectively as like the physical things that LeBron could do and did at his peak. But there was always you could argue that it wasn't always like that. I think there's an argument to be made that based on consistency over time over the last year or so, you could argue maybe 18 months that like James has been up there and maybe a couple other people. But as far as like when you're at full power, it's really hard to beat Jeff Adler.
Agreed.
When Jeff is like full powered up, like Super Saiyan, 4, he's tough to beat. But the problem is he's had mistakes, injuries, things that he's hasn't been able to compete at that level consistently. The other piece of that too is I think some of the parity, like I mentioned, comes from elements of programming. And I think some of the strongman elements and some of the formats and things like that also just play a factor that you don't get to see those anywhere else, right?
Yeah, agreed.
So you spend this majority of this year training a certain way, preparing a certain way, and Rogue has its own unique flavor.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Jeff really excels at that too. That's not taking anything away from him, but there was a top 2 guys at Rogue, but 4 titles between them.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's something about the showing up to this competition that they like a lot, which is also good to see.
Yeah, so 4 Rogue Invitationals. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So that's Lauren, do you have one like a big takeaway from this?
Are you guys ready?
Yeah.
What?
So obviously how competitive the men's field is, but I don't think we can forget about Mr. Harry Lightfoot, that he, to me, is the winner just based on his personality.
He's great.
The camera needs to be on him more because he performs when the camera is in front of him.
Yeah.
And then even Roman doing his little break dancing. Yes, obviously the competition, there's so many highlights, but from that little human element, seeing some of the personalities of athletes that maybe we haven't really gotten to see behind the curtain, like that just, gave me some some really, really good chuckles. So,
Yeah.
you know.
And Tom, you mentioned this, like while we're on the men's side, this, and I didn't have a chance to mention this on the tailgate show with Zach, but I wanted to, is the fact that James Sprague continues to legitimize his win in 2024. And I know that people were like, that is an asterisk year for a lot of people, given what happened there. And the fact that, some of the athletes had, weren't, their heads weren't in it, understandably so. But since then, James has proven that he deserves to be in the conversation of that, the upper echelon of male athlete.
Oh, for sure.
And that we don't need to talk about. He legitimately won. Like he had, even had things gone as planned in 2024, he still would have had it. He still could have won that, I think. And I think he's proven that over these past couple major competitions.
I think the same could be said about Justin Medeiros, though. A lot of people are saying, like he's not somebody that we watch anymore. He's not one of the top guys, but finishes second, had a great performance over the weekend that he very much is still in that top tier conversation of athletes.
100%. Yeah, I think that was another thing I was going to mention. And then if we go, I think that's really all I think that jumped out to me on the men's side, having been there. But like all these guys, Gerard, the top 7, Gerard, Hopper, Crouch, Sprague, Krennikov, Medeiros, Adler. Like those are the guys that they're always going to be in contention. Like that's if the 7 of them are in the competition, it's likely the 7 of them are finishing somewhere in the top 10.
Yeah, I would even put. Did you say Vellner in that too?
I didn't, but I would probably put him up there as well, even though he's, alive.
He was great until the last day.
35, yeah.
I swear sometimes we talk about him like some ways like he's the crypt keeper, like he's he's half dead and just like
bless his
skin and
heart.
bones,
just out there scrapping.
But he podiumed in Phoenix at World Fitness Project. He was leader. Like he's still got a lot of fitness left in.
There's no doubt.
And I think an element to the parity that needs to be mentioned too, as you talked about how Jeff had to finish outside of the top 10, like that actually takes a little bit heavier weight when there's only 20 people, right? You think about finish it, like that's a bottom half finish. An 11th is a bottom half finish. So you're thinking about like people like Adler and those guys taking in a traditional games field, not counting this year, a 22nd, a 21st, a 30th, a 36th. Like there was a time where we didn't see a lot of that, and we do now. And it makes it exciting that Jason Hopper had a Brent Fikowski 2016-esque performance where it felt like he was winning every other event, but he was fighting an uphill battle because of a couple of elements.
Well, that's an interesting point too, because that's something that I am now convinced of. I think 20 people is the ideal field size. I like 20.
I like 2 heats.
2 heats.
It makes both heats interesting.
Absolutely. Like you're trying to fight to get in that second one. Whereas like if you do 30, it's 3 heats. The first one, it's like when there's 40 people, the first heat is inconsequential. Does not matter. That's a friends and family heat. People are, it's like good for them. Maybe one of these people will throw a monkey wrench into things and come up with a huge performance, but that's rare that happens. Like
unless you're down pepper.
Unless you're down pepper, fine. But that's the exception to I think a pretty well established rule. With 30, heat 3 is kind of interesting, or the first of 3 heats is like kind of interesting. But when you've got 20, like that first heat you got some heavy hitters in there. I think that is the ideal number. I think if we can find a better way, a more complete way, like to qualify people to the games, and we go with 20, I think that is, and especially from a viewer standpoint, it just makes it so much easier. I'm a big fan of 20.
Yeah, I mean, I understand all the benefits of that, and I don't disagree with you, but I just think for how demanding the season is, and all of the things that are encompassed in being an athlete in the sport, I think having more spots to be represented at the highest level is important.
I can see that too. Like, and I understand that argument, especially when you start getting into the regions that are still growing, like South America or Africa or Asia. Like I understand the argument to have representation from those regions. Like I totally get that. And that's a very valid point. I just like 20 people.
Yeah, it's super nice.
Yeah.
I'll say like when I couldn't watch some of it live and have to come back, knowing there was only 2 heats was really nice.
You get through it, right? You got through it, and you can. Now, with that being said, if you were to do that at the games, the problem is you're going to have a lot of downtime unless you're like, I guess you could use the teams in there as well. But that's what makes 20 okay at Rogue, is because you have the strong men and the strong women that give you that rest time. So like there's like, if you do just 20 and it's just individuals, that there's a lot of downtime in there. Whereas like
do you just have a condensed schedule?
You could have a condensed schedule, that's fine. But I think if you do 20 with the teams and you mix them in like they did at Rogue, where you'd have
strongman,
I think that would work. I think that's fine. But it is hard to go against. Like, it's hard to not have those regions outside North America and Europe and Australia. It's hard for me to push back against that. But yeah, like I said, ideal world at like 20. Anybody I got a couple others, but if anyone wants
for just men,
no, just keep. I was gonna go to the women's side next.
I definitely got some stuff for women. I'm thinking, I think Jay Crouch continues to be like a sneaky BKG type.
I would agree with that. That's a good comparison.
I would say he's replaced maybe BKG at that spot. As the guy who's just seems to find his way around the top 5 lately, and maybe he hasn't had the same fanfare. But
yeah, I think that's a really good comparison. The Aussie BKG.
I would say super upsetting for Sam Quant. He did have his surgery, I think today. He flew back to Boston. So now he's on the road to recovery, but bummed to see that happen.
Yeah, I didn't even see it. I didn't see it happen. I remember calling that heat and then noticing that he was sitting on that mat. I was like, oh no.
I was actually going to be one of my no reps. I was just going to no rep Achilles tendons in general. Have you ever heard?
I guess he also broke his wrist.
Did he really?
So apparently he broke or fractured his wrist on an earlier heat of the duel, and then continued. And then when he did it again, that's when he blew his Achilles. Yeah, so like double whammy there.
He was having a decent competition.
Have you ever heard someone reference an Achilles tendon and it be a good conversation?
No, I've strained mine and heard it before, and it's not
exactly
like you can't.
Well, it's interesting when you think of how much you need it for. Anytime you jump up on the rig, anytime you walk, anytime you step over something, like there's nothing you can really do at the gym without an Achilles.
And it's not like, a muscle or something else where like, like I got a really good pump in my bicep today or my lats. It's like, oh, my Achilles tendon feels great today. It's like I heard it and life sucks now.
It feels good. You never hear that. Man, my Achilles feels really good today.
Really good.
Yeah.
It feels springy.
Yeah. So on the women's side,
wait, Tommy,
what?
Did you crunch the numbers?
Well, let's save that to the end.
Okay. I do have the numbers.
I was let's save it to the end.
Okay.
But
I gotta know.
Yeah. So on the women's side, I don't know how I want to make this a positive and not a negative, because it sounds like a negative. But the women's, there's parity in the women's side. It's just in the middle, and the women's side needs more parity at the top, because once again, Laura Horvath had this thing wrapped up before she didn't even take the floor on the final event. Like, she was up by more than 100 points. Like, when she or Tia are in the field, it's a foregone conclusion that one of the two of them is going to win. We need more people in that mix.
I think Alex can be that.
I think she could, but she's not there yet. But I'm talking, you need, like, on the men's side, for me, I would love to see like 5 or 6 people. It's like, oh man. And I think we maybe, I don't know if we've had that, because as long as Laura's in there, she just dominates. But with that being said, you just mark off that top spot. You're like, okay, you just pencil Laura or Tia or whoever's there. And then but behind them, it gets really interesting. And I think, like, this is another thing that I think really stood out to me on the women's side, is like Lucy Campbell is legit.
Oh,
like,
dude.
Legit. And I think she's great for the sport. I love the fact that, I love how she competes. I love the personality. I love that she's got that great story about battling back from the wrist, that she probably shouldn't even be competing right now. Yeah. But she is legit. And maybe she's someone who can kind of springboard into that. But I could not have been more impressed with her this weekend. Like, just backed up a great performance at the games. Like, that had nothing to do with who wasn't there or whatever. Lucy earned that. Like, she is a legitimate competitor.
And she is clutch. I will tell you this.
Yes.
Clutch. You put her in a pressure scenario, she performs. The way she did that in the last event, all the way back from the first time she showed up to the games when she won the finale that she rarely gets credit for, because even Boz said, oh, Cara Saunders won that event. Nope. Lucy Campbell won that event her rookie year. She ended on an event win to close things out. To put you put her in that scenario where it's like, oh, you got to step up and perform. How does she respond? She goes and knocks it out of the park.
Mhm.
I don't know. It trips me out every time I look at it. I go and look at Lucy's competitive history. You have 2022 CrossFit Games 16, and then there's a 3-year gap, and then suddenly 2025 comes in like a Mack truck, and it's Wadapalooza first, CrossFit Open third, Wadland Fest qualifying for the games first, World Fitness Project Tour Event 1 fourth, CrossFit Games second, World Fitness Project Tour Event 2 fifth, Rogue Invitational third. She hasn't finished outside of the top 5 at a major in-person competition this year. And she's
Yeah.
just, she shows up and she's in the final heat. She's in contention for a podium spot, and she's wrecking house. And I'm with you on everything you said about how awesome of a story it is, how cool it is to see someone of her caliber, of not just an athlete, of a human, to be able to do that. And yeah, it was awesome to see her battle back in that way, and add another podium finish to her resume, which is super cool. And I think I don't know. It's hard. I don't want to I don't want to step out of the here and now with Lucy, because I think given her story, it's really important.
Mhm.
And I also think that's important for Alex too, and where she finished in second place this weekend, and especially how she won the second event, coming back from a major leg injury and winning the yoke and power stair event. That's all, like, basically a whole leg drive. I think that Alex can bump into that echelon with Laura and Tia. I think she was starting to prove that, and then had obviously the worst setback. And I think her finishing second behind Laura this weekend tells me that she can get back to that fairly quickly.
Mhm.
Which is why I'm like, for me, it's that I feel like that parity is coming a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, she still lost by 95 points.
Sure.
Yeah. I mean, that's
right, but there were several movements that she couldn't do for a decent amount of time, right?
understood. Like, yes, and I am not one to doubt Justin Kotler. Like, when he says no, she can be. Like, I believe that. Okay, and I hope, but that's just one more person. Like,
Yeah.
I think for it to be the most exciting division, because it was a little bit there when like Tia was stepping aside. There was some, oh man, here we go. Like, it's going to be, and then Laura stepped up and was like, no, I'm just going to wreck shop as well. Like, I want more parity at the top. But like I said, with that being said, the battles that go on behind it, like, that's a lot of fun. Like, there's a lot of parity there. But I just want I want to see some people start to break into the upper echelon. So, and I was also impressed with Olivia Kerstetter. You guys,
Oh,
you're going to do backing up their performance at the games.
Yeah, fifth.
She's still a teenager. Right?
she's
Still,
what,
She's in
19?
college, so
yeah,
yes.
that's insane.
I mean, but also, like, I mean, again, I'm trying to hesitate and looking too far forward. Like, we were begging for this kind of parity that we have in the men's field now, just a few years ago,
Mhm.
and now it's here.
Sure.
And I feel like it's looming for the women's side too, because like Gazan, Lawson, Kerstetter, the oldest one of that bunch, is 23.
That's a good point.
That's a really, that is a good point.
So
Yeah. And I feel like the way that we're talking about the women's field, that's how we were talking about the men's field when Frazier was
Yeah.
competing. So now it's
Yeah.
just, I don't know that we'll ever like.
It took him to leave. Then not people didn't catch up with him. He was like, peace, and then just.
And I wonder if that's the same case with Tia and Laura. Until they retire, we could just be waiting.
That's the feeling I'm kind of getting right now. But
Maybe not.
I think
Could
there's
be wrong.
reason to be optimistic, and I think Tommy brings up a really good point. The youth of the competitors that are really impressive right now is encouraging. Like, it's going to get us there. But like, no one's coming out of the woodwork or anything like that. Like, we've pretty much found everybody that's going to be good at this sport. So we'll see. But those were the main takeaways for me. Anybody else got one they want to add that we didn't?
I'm kind of. I mean, I thought there were a couple like handful of really impressive performances. You know, like individual event performances, like Colton lapping the field in event 3.
Dude, that was not.
Yeah.
It was just ridiculous. Oh, and then the handstand push-up event one.
Mm-hmm.
He did all of his handstand push-ups in 31 seconds. That's how long it took him to do all those handstand push-ups. That's like I think there was I don't remember the rep scheme, but it was about 31, 32 handstand push-ups, and he did them all strict, wall facing in 31 seconds. You know what? Oh, here's another one. Here's another one on the women's side. Probably the most impressive version of Danielle Brandon I've seen in a while.
Yeah.
I was really impressed with her.
Yeah, I kind of tempered expectations because I felt like Tax Collector was just a known bad event for her. You know, just the stuff that she's dealt with her back and that movement and heavy back squats in particular. I just felt like that was going to put a cap on what her weekend could be. But like you said, there were other elements of what she did that was, she sparkled for sure. I did have a question about I saw some chatter about the handstand push-up thing with like, because there was
are you in reference to Laura
and there were a bunch of other people were doing it too.
The way, and Adrian described this on air, and I'll have to go back and look at it, but the way it looked is like they were sort of like loading their hips a little bit, so bending their knees to kind of give themselves some traction to get up the wall. The way that Adrian explained it. So that was it, but they weren't getting called on.
To me, it didn't look like an intentional thing.
But even if it's intentional,
it looked like
should it have been called or should it have?
Correct.
I just don't know.
To me, it looked like almost the way that like when you lift a heavy bar and it just starts to bend because of the force. That's almost. I don't know that that's the best like comparison, but to me, it's like, oh, it's just happening because of the way the person is moving or how fast they're going or their mechanics or something.
Yeah,
it didn't look like a known thing that. But
some like, and it wasn't just Laura. I saw a couple other ones. I think just the natural byproduct of like if you're getting into that good tripod position away from the wall, naturally as your feet drag behind, your hips starts to close, and then you're gonna open it to get back up, and you're gonna get a benefit from that as a result. I just don't know what the standard was in brief because people immediately were like, "Those aren't strict," and I'm like, "Did it say strict?"
Yeah, I wasn't privy to whatever they were supposed to be strict. Yes, that is
okay.
Yeah, but I wasn't privy to athlete briefing. I'm not out there judging. I don't, it wasn't something when I was calling the action I was paying attention to. Conway certainly saw it, and that's why he said something about it.
Yeah, I just wasn't sure. I don't know. It didn't seem like the biggest deal to me, but
yeah. Okay. Do you want to do scores here because we had our fantasy teams?
I don't want to. I'll tell you that. There's some foreshadowing.
Oh, Sean, it's between you and me.
Why do I have a feeling that Lauren won this and Tommy and I are going to keep doing something crazy? That would be what would be just. I think that's what the people would want.
Okay, hold on.
I'm feeling pretty good about my team though.
So I know, like I feel like we both had some really good performers.
Yeah.
Do you have the total like numbers too, Tommy?
Well, give us your total since you've already admitted that you're out.
One quick thing I will note, and going through my field notes again, I did want to give a props to Medeiros' log muscle up strategy. This is something that I've done with chest to bar pull-ups in class.
Wait, I don't remember what he did.
So he had his pads set a little bit further behind the actual log, so he would come down from it, land, and instead of like jumping into the log or jumping up to the log, he would just kind of let his hips and weight fall into the log, and that would restart his kip. And it was all this one fluid motion. Because really, when people like get underneath the log and they go to re-kip again, their first motion is back, right? To start, right? Think about to start that portion of the kip.
Yeah.
Well, he was already starting in that back position based on where he planted his pad. So he just had to get his hands on, his feet were back, and he took one extra like beat out of it. And it was almost as fast as like a big long set. And I just thought that was really clever. So I want to give him props.
Smart. Yeah.
Yep. And I'm just distracting from the fact that I got worked. Okay. So I had a stroke of bad luck. Emmettal withdrew.
Yeah, that hurt.
That kind of took me out of contention with the 20th place. So my team: Ariel Lowen, Olivia Kerstetter, Emmettal, Paige Rogers, Jeff Adler, Austin Hatfield, Colton Mertens, Jay Crouch. Emmettal finished 20th. Paige finished 14th. Ariel Lowen finished 10th. Olivia Kerstetter finished 5th. For my total on the women's side of 49 points.
Oof. Okay.
Sean.
In second place for the women, Laura Horvath, Danielle Brandon at 1. Danielle Brandon finished 6th. Lucy Campbell finished 3rd. Emily Rolfe finished 13th. Sean's women's total is 23. Lauren with the top spot after the women's division. Alex Gazan 2. Emma Lawson 4. Brooke Wells 9.
There.
Yeah. Brooke Wells 9 and Gracie Walton 7.
That was solid.
Everyone
all top 10 finishes for L Dog, y'all.
And Lauren squeaks by Sean with 22 points for the women.
Okay. All right.
So after the women,
how many did you have, Sean?
I had 23.
23. Okay.
So after the women, it's Lauren in first with 22, Sean in second with 23, and Caboose Marquez bringing up the rear and 49. Men's side, this is where it gets interesting.
Uh-oh.
I think you beat me.
Sean and I tied.
Oh!
But last place for the men was Lauren.
Yeah.
Pat Vellner at 8, Hopper at 6, Medeiros at 2, Guy Mayeros 14, for a total of 30 for Lauren. I had Adler at 1, Hatfield at 10, Colton at 9, Jay Crouch at 5. For me, all top 10 finishes for 25. Sean, Ricky Garrard 7, James Sprague 4, Roman 3, Chandler 11 for a total of 25. For your winner, the oldest man in the field.
Yeah.
Good job, Tommy. Good job, Tommy.
Sean Woodland with 48 points.
First time I've ever won a fantasy league ever in my life. Nice job.
Old man does it. Good job, Sean.
Lauren finishes second with 52 points. I'm 74 and I'm the guy everyone's clapping for.
That was
74.
That was injury. Like you kind of got hosed.
I was pretty far back. Let's just say that as the time cap was coming, Cole Sager was coming over to cheer me on.
All
right.
Yes.
All right.
Sean
we're the biggest losers, Sean.
What was that?
Lauren and I
Tommy.
Lauren and I will have to do the punishment as we get that sorted.
I don't know. We got to figure out what that one was. I'll let you. Stay tuned. Well, yeah.
We'll have to figure that out maybe for next week's show.
Yeah. Or I'm going to go to a heavy metal show.
Oh my God. Lauren has to get into the pit at a metal concert and I have to defend her.
Oh my God. Wait, that would be really fun.
Yeah.
I'm just going to huck her in.
Well, that was cool. I didn't think I was watching. I'm like, I think I got a pretty good shot here. I think I got a pretty good shot.
You do.
Good job, Sean.
Thank you.
Picks.
Thank you very much. Got a little lucky, but hey, that's okay. All right. Well, that's we'll have to do that again. But let's do our community support because we got a couple things that we want to talk about here. I'll get the first one. Hang on. This was sent to me via Instagram. This is from Support Courtney and Eddie after a devastating fire. Members of the CrossFit community. If you go to GoFundMe, it's Support Courtney and Eddie after devastating fire. That's what you got to look for. Megan, who is the sister of Courtney Farrell, Courtney and her fiance Eddie put everything they had into purchasing their first home only 3 short months ago. Since then, they have worked night and day to make it their dream home, pouring their heart, soul, and every penny they had into it. They were both gone to their jobs yesterday. They got a call from their neighbor that no one ever wants to get. Your house is on fire. Rushing home, they found numerous fire trucks and police doing what they could to try to save their house. While they watched their dreams go up in smoke and flames, the house and contents are a devastating loss. Due to having issues with the insurance company, they are left with nothing but the bill.
Oh,
At this time, they're looking for both monetary help as well as anyone who's able to help with the removal of the damage. Anyone willing to donate their time if they have contracting experience, as well as donations here with this GoFundMe account. An Amazon link for their needed wish list will be added shortly. If you are able to donate time or items, please let me know as well. Thank you for helping them at their deepest time of need right before the holidays. So again, that's support Courtney and Eddie after devastating fire. That's I can't imagine. Like I know people who have gone through this. I cannot imagine what that feeling is like. So they have a $3,000 goal to raise. They're 1,800 into that. So they've got 61%. If you can help them out at all, again, go to GoFundMe, look for support Courtney and Eddie after devastating fire, and whatever you can do would be a huge help. So,
and also, like they said, contracting services, right? Like if you know people that in the home building industry, in the lumber industry, in materials, anything that you know of that can maybe help out with that. Yeah, Sean, forward me that whoever reached out to you on that, because I may have some connections.
All right, I'll do that.
Some stuff. So
okay, cool. Yeah, I want to get that out there. Okay, we got another one, right?
Yep, we do. Lauren and I know Lauren, you got it, but I did take a screenshot as well. There was a CrossFit affiliate, Mach 938 CrossFit, had a fire that has basically left their facility unusable. And this is less a request for help,
Community support, a PR.
A PR, yes. To a bunch of other community members and gyms that have rallied to provide their community a place to train. If you follow Mach 983 _ CrossFit, they've been posting some stuff about it too. Mile High Pickleball Club opened up their space to share with them, so their people have a place to train and so they can run classes. So just kind of a good job and thank you to the members of the community around Mach 983 CrossFit who have basically provided a cool space for them to train in light of a really tough scenario where they're starting to rebuild. But
yeah. And it looks like they're in the Denver area.
Yeah, I was just
they're
about to say
offering free membership and stuff.
Sweet.
Cool. Yep. That's the last one, right? Or do we have another one?
I think that's it, but it should be noted that CrossFit Mach 983, they do. There was a good article from Morning Chalk up about a year ago, I think, where they do at-risk youth, inmates, and veterans in Colorado as well. So they do a lot of good work. So
great, awesome. All right, hey, listen, if you guys got anything you want us to get the word out on, we're happy to do it. Send it to our Instagram accounts. Our Talking Elite Fitness Instagram account. Just give us as many details as you possibly can. Like the GoFundMe link was really helpful because we want to make sure that we're sending people to the right spot to get the people who need the help that they need. So please do it. We enjoy doing it. And yeah, really hope that the two entities that we mentioned, best of luck. So glad we could share that. All right, let's do PRs and no reps. Who got a no rep?
I got it.
No reps this week.
No rep.
Ooh, that's good. I was going to no rep Achilles tendons. I'm also no repping. I'm no repping time. My first year as a parent is almost done, and
yes, man.
I cannot believe that it's almost a year. So
it's crazy, right? Like you're going to look back.
Go ahead, Sean.
I was going to say you're going to look back 4 years from now and be like, I don't even remember that.
Just. There's some things that have like kickstarted the early days memories. Obviously, like my son being a year and this time of year when he was born, but like the time change in the darkness. And funny enough, the Hallmark Countdown to Christmas channel.
Let's go. Now we're talking.
Let's not go. Let's not with the Hallmark movies.
Yeah, but really, yeah, it's just like how quickly it goes by. So I wanted to slow down.
That's
Please.
one of my favorite Onion headlines is Hallmark Research is on verge of developing second plot. Like, it's all the same freaking movie. Lauren, you got no rep? You got no reps. I don't know if I have.
Actually, no, I do have a no rep, but I'm gonna then it like leads into a PR.
Yeah, go for it, because I don't think I have a no rep. I haven't given this.
Okay, I'm gonna no rep my nephew on Halloween. We haven't recorded since Halloween, right?
I don't think
Halloween, yeah, because Halloween was during Rogue. On Halloween, they shut down these streets. It's crazy. The parents are in the street while the kids, go up to the houses. My sister and brother-in-law and family are back a little bit with my 2-year-old, while I am up front making sure that my 4-year-old nephew is going to the houses. Everything's good. So I decided to walk up to one of the houses with him to just see his process, make sure he's having manners and saying thank you. And this little wise ass takes a handful of candy and turns around, and I'm right there. And he goes, "Don't tell mama." And I was like, Colton,
no.
like, so I obviously go back and I'm like, Casey, like, he's literally taking handfuls. And so in that time that I told my sister and she went up to him, he comes up with the excuse that, well, mama, Blake is back here with you and she can't trick or treat. So I'm getting candy for my sister. So that's the PR is okay. I see what you're doing there.
Quick thinker.
Spun that one.
In trouble because he thinks of a story pretty quickly.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't even think I even have a PR this week. I'm just sort of
I got a couple. I will say I was going to PR Hopper and for the all-time wins, Rogue production team for the awesome job. I was going to PR Pat Vellner. I don't know if you guys saw this. Did you see the slow-mo that Craig Ritchie posted of the duel?
No.
I mean,
on his Instagram?
He basically like it took in 10 seconds. It took an entire movie for Woody Harrelson to undo in the movie White Man Can't Jump. Pat Vellner looks so smooth and like he has the biggest like. Have you not seen this? He just glides over the top of this the log.
Yes, I did see that.
And you're like, damn, Pat, all right, you got some bunnies.
Oh, yeah, you got some height.
He was the fastest over the logs.
Yeah. You're like,
whoo. He did really well.
And then the rope pulls, everyone caught up and passed, but that's okay.
I do have a PR. I'm going to PR, I think she's the production manager at Rogue, Mary, who is unbelievable. Like, was bringing me coffee, was like ordering stuff for me, protein shake. It was amazing because I didn't get to really. I left the booth. I think I had 1 hour break one day where I got to like come down and walk around for a second, and I had another like 45-minute break where I got to come down and like leave my perch. And yeah, she had like mochas sent up to me, lattes. I think I set a personal record for the amount of coffee that I drank over a 72-hour period. Like, and she was.
Did you have any pumpkin spice?
No.
I don't think it exists in Scotland.
They had it at Heathrow. They did have it at the
of course they did.
Did not have one though, but had one today though because it was cold. And I was like, I'm gonna go. I needed a warm beverage. We had a big meeting I had to go to, so I was like, I'm gonna give me a pumpkin spiced latte. Why not? And you know what?
Good for you.
Here's you. Okay, I'll PR I'm gonna PR the Starbucks at San Jose State University because their pay thing was down, right? And I was trying because I was tapped to pay. I'm like, okay, my credit card, you can just run it. She's like, nah, you can have it. They gave it to me for free.
Sweet. Oh, bless.
That was cool. Those are my two people. People doing nice things. All right.
Before I go to my last one, my last PR, I saw that with Zach in the post show, there was a bottle and some Glencairn glasses. What was that?
There was some whiskey, that was scotch.
I assume it has to be. I assume scotch. Yeah,
it was scotch, and I drank it. And Irv, who was a producer, is like, dude, I can't believe you drank that. I'm like, hell yeah, I was going to drink that.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Did it smoky? Was it peated?
I have no idea. It was alcohol, and I was like, I needed a drink. So
did it taste like a wood fire?
It
yum.
Stung the nostrils. It's a formidable thing.
But in a good way.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie to you. That smells like pure gas. But But my last PR was the wonderment of, or that's not even a real word, of Halloween. Just because this is first Halloween as a full for our family. We went as Din Djarin, the Mandalorian,
Yeah, that's
Bo-Katan,
awesome.
and Grogu, and we're walking, and it's towards the end of the night, and like my son's getting a little cranky, and I hear this kid just go, "Oh, Mando," like under his breath, like he was like in awe. And I turned and looked at him, and
Amazing.
he's like wide-eyed at me, and I'm like, "This is the way." And he like
Nice.
I thought he was gonna faint.
That's so
He
cool.
like his like eyes rolled back in his head.
I was so
And
pissed I missed
That's
Halloween.
cool.
It sucked. Yeah,
but
because
it,
I'm a terrible father. But all right,
definitely
that's
not.
gonna
But
do it for today. What we got, we're kind of in the off season now.
yeah,
So we'll see what we can dig up next week. But I'm sure there'll be some news. We're keeping an eye on everything and stuff
Get
going on.
get
Yeah.
some postmortems for some athletes.
There you go. So that's it. Thanks so much for watching. Thanks for listening, everybody. Lauren, glad we didn't have to keep you up till like the wee hours of the night or the
Still
morning.
got some energy here.
Yeah, nice. Enjoy your time in the great state of Arizona. And yes, thanks for listening, everybody. Thanks for watching. For Tommy Marquez and Lauren Khalil, I'm Sean Woodland. Take care of each other. Be better, and we will talk to you guys next time.